Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to Benidorm. If you had said to me earlier this year, Scott, you're going to go to Benidorm twice in 2 months, I would have replied, yeah, right. But here I am, 2 months after the last visit, I'm back in Benidorm. 2 months ago I shot a video called Benidorm for Beginners. It was the first time I'd ever stayed in Benidorm, and it was a real eye-opener in more ways than one. If you haven't seen that video, I will put a link below. It was a laugh to shoot, and it made me want to come back because there was one thing I didn't have time to do, and that was to visit Benidorm Island. Most people who've been to Benidorm would have seen the island. I just wonder how many people actually go to Benidorm Island to see it. This trip originally started as a day trip. On paper it would work. All I needed was my flight from Glasgow to Alicante to be delayed by 20 minutes. I would have missed the best connection then from Alicante Airport onto Benidorm. By the time I got into the town centre to catch the last ferry of the day, I might have missed that, and it was just too risky, far too risky. I didn't want everything falling apart at Glasgow Airport before I'd even started. So a little voice said, why don't you do a one-nighter? And I thought, brilliant idea. The only problem is tomorrow's flight back to Glasgow is a morning departure, which doesn't give me time to do the trip to Benidorm Island. So the little voice said, make it a two-nighter, and I said, this is getting a bit silly, but hang on a second. That would allow me time here on arrival to have one of these beer things I've heard about. Tomorrow I can relax, I can soak up some vitamin D, maybe have another beer. That gives me the whole day to go out to the island and back, and on day 3 head back to Blighty. What a brilliant idea, and that's what I'm doing. So what do you need to know about Benidorm Island? Well, firstly, it's very, very scenic, so keep watching. That will be tomorrow's adventure. But it is 2.2 miles or 3.5 kilometers off the shore, right over there, and it's made of limestone. It's also surrounded by large meadows of seagrass, and I think that is about all you need to know. So for the 2 nights here, I'm staying at the Clopy Rocamar, and I'm really hoping there's nothing sloppy about the Clopy. Yes, and I booked it through hotels.com. Now I've got an affiliation link now with hotels.com, Verbo and Expedia, as well as Skyscanner. And if you use my link below, it will not cost you a single penny more, but I will make a little bit of commission. And the reason why I'm going down that route is because I've made an executive decision. There's not going to be any more paid advertising in the middle of my videos anymore. When you've got a channel like mine, you've got to tweak it every way you can, and that was acting as a bit of a distraction. People were clicking past it, some people were clicking off the video entirely. That's no good. So you can be assured there's going to be no eSIMs or VPNs being advertised on this channel anymore. So let's find this Clopy and get checked in. This is one area I didn't actually explore when I was here 2 months ago. I think I need to address that this time. But there's supposed to be some really good eateries down there. And this is what you get for £39. A little work area, nice big double bed, boom, 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 PowerPoints, a kettle, you get a very small balcony. If you want to get technical, there is a sea view there. And in here, a modern toilet and shower. It's not bad for £39 a night in the old town. You also get a safe which can accommodate a laptop, which is fortunate because I brought a laptop and I don't want to be taking it with me tomorrow, and I wouldn't. I'm going to enjoy this, but I'm going to freshen up, then I think we should head out and get a beer to celebrate arriving into Benidorm. It is, after all, 4:20. Yeah, let's do this. Well, first impression of the room is it's actually quite nice. The safe doesn't work. The shower definitely does. What a powerful shower, and a hot shower as well. It took me about half an hour to work out how to use it. How many knobs and dials do you need on a shower? It's something like what Captain Kirk would use on the Starship Enterprise. Cheese-ho. And the bed sounds a bit squeaky as well, but I'll test that out tonight. Right, I'm going to go and have one of these Spanish beer things that I've heard so many good things about. Spending 2 nights here instead of a day trip is definitely the right move. Okay, it is 20 to 6. I'm thinking, why am I so hungry? But then I didn't have lunch today, did I? I was on an EasyJet flight. So I think I know what I'm going to have. And it's not going to be calamari. That might be a plan B, or maybe for tomorrow. I'm going to be trying for something else. I'm going to go for a wander, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to try and find what I've got in mind for dinner tonight. And you'll never guess. I'm trying to find a restaurant which I saw 2 months ago, and I thought I must come back, and then probably couldn't find it. But I think it's down here. Well, good news and bad news. The good news is I found the restaurant that I was looking for. The bad news is they have absolutely no customers. It is void of people, and I don't want to look like Scotty No Mate sitting there by myself. So I will go for a walk along the promenade area, and I'll come back later and have Okie dokie, the need for food is starting to grow great. It is approaching 7 p.m. Let's head back and get some dinner. And here we are. I might still be the only person to eat here, but I can't go in any longer without a meal. Right. Aha, there's an indoor section as well. Now I get it. That's right, I come all the way to Benidorm and I have a schnitzel. But it was a really good schnitzel. Right, I'm going to get some supplies for the room, and I'll see you in the morning when we head out to Benidorm Island. Somewhere out there. And a good morning to everybody. That was quite a good bed. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Unfortunately, at about 12:30 last night, we had 2 English guys arrive in the room next to me, made a bit of a racket, then settled down after half an hour. I know they're English because I could fully hear their conversations. I think they'd had a few drinks and they were talking very, very loud. But apart from that, very quiet neighbourhood. Right, I'm going to go out and get some breakfast, and then we're going to go to Benidorm Island. I'm just looking for something basic, something like a coffee and a pastry. There is a cafe on the island. I don't know how big it is or what kind of a range they've got, but as long as I've got something in my stomach, I'll be a happy man. And I think I'll start looking down here. As time goes on, I'm more and more convinced that my body clock is out by about 45-50 minutes. If I was to turn up for a random early bus, guaranteed I'll miss it by 5 minutes. I'll have a 55-minute wait ahead of me. Same with ferries to Benidorm Island. It is just gone. A couple of minutes to 11. Next one, midday. So I've got the best part of an hour to wait. Why do I always do that? I always just arrive too late, and I've got a very long wait ahead of me. I suppose it gives me an excuse to walk along the beach, doesn't it?
Sacó el pañuelo y me saludó. Luego después se acercó a mí, me dio un abrazo y en aquel acto creí morir.
Okie dokie, I've just done a U-turn. I'm heading back into the old town. I've got a confirmation which I believe I have to exchange for a ticket at an office somewhere, so I'm giving myself plenty of time. I'm also not 100% sure where this jetty or wharf is, but I'm sure I'll find it. Righty-ho, this is the port area. All I have to do now is find out where I exchange my confirmation for ticket. This is a bit I've been dreading. Okie dokie, the ticket office back there tells you to come to another ticket office up here. So we'll see where we end up. Once I found the right ticket office to go to, it was actually quite simple. Boom. Guy back there wanted to take my photo. They're taking photos of everyone who's boarding so they can sell them later. I offered to take his picture with my GoPro. Oh no, no, no. €3 for a can of Coke or €4 for a pint. That's a no-brainer. And here we are on the island of Benidorm. I didn't actually want to have a pint that early because it's just gone 1 PM, but I thought, value for money. So we're going to go for a little walk now along the island. This won't take too long because it's not huge, but it's certainly different from what's over there. High rise. I'd like to know how many people visit Benidorm and how many people actually come to Benidorm Island. It must only be about 1% or something, because that boat wasn't very busy, but the promenade area was jumping. It is €23, so maybe it's just a little bit too pricey if you've got a partner and kids. Yeah, because let's face it, but I only have 4, that's €100. I was having a real nice little moment down there at that cafe. A chilled beer, the warm Mediterranean sun on my shoulders, a warm breeze on my face, listening to a bit of Brian Ferry. Yeah, but I thought, no, I've got a hill to climb. There's a very large population of seagulls. What are they, herring gulls, grey gulls? I don't know what they're actually called. I tell you what, they kind of hang around here a lot. You can tell by the stainage, and boy does it stink. Phew, I think their diet is mainly fish here. Yeah, so being at the highest point of the whole island, I'm actually at the cliff as well, and after having a pint at 1 PM, I'm being very super careful here. Otherwise it'd be a very abrupt ending to this video. Yeah, I might get away from the edge there. Tell you what, this whole area stinks. The seagulls have got free range here, and boy does it honk. The highest point of Benidorm Island is 73 meters above sea level, which would give me approximately 2 seconds to get my GoPro on and to get the shot of the century before I hit the water. It's not worth it. Funnily enough, there's no one up here. Do people just come to Benidorm Island, sit at a cafe, have a beer or an overpriced Coca-Cola and do nothing else? Am I the only stupid one here on the island? Must be. One thing I have to be careful of, and I keep falling for this trick, is my shoes. They're technically running shoes or jogging shoes, and they have next to no grip on the sole, which means that if I'm trying to climb over slippery limestone, I could easily go flying. Right, what is the way down? Ah, that way. Yeah, so at 23 euros per person, for a solo that's not too bad. But when you've got a partner and 2 kids, that's the best part of 100, and that gets a bit pricey, doesn't it? And then what are you going to do when you get here? Well, you'll have to have a drink of some sort, whether it's a Coke or whether it's a beer or whatever. So it ends up being quite an expensive day out. So I can see why so many people, here we go, how many people don't actually come out here. Which is a shame really, because it's a beautiful little day trip away from the concrete jungle, which is Benidorm. Oh, this is where I nearly went flying before, hang on. That's it. This is the entrance to some sort of signal area. It looks heavily fortified until you look here. I can see a weakness, but I'm not going to go in there. There is down there a swimming area, and I think I might go down there and have a look around. I'm not going to go for a swim because I left my mankini back at home, but yeah, I think I should go down there. Over at the jetty at Benidorm, there was a map of the island, and it showed that this was a zone of bathing, and I'm not sure I'd want to swim down there. Looks a little bit rough for that. I think you could get caught in a current and end up in Tunisia, over there somewhere. Yeah. So once you've seen the bathing area, and once you've been up to the summit, I don't think there's a lot else to do apart from go back to the cafe and have another beer or an overpriced Coca-Cola. But it's nice to get away from the concrete jungle, which is called Benidorm. It's nice and peaceful here. So the next ferry is in approximately, naturally I've just missed one by about 10 minutes, in about 50 minutes time, I'll be on that one. Just walking back to the cafe and I discovered a path. I think we should go down there and investigate. This makes a great viewpoint, but it's also home to a couple of hundred seagulls, and I'll tell you what, it is stinking. It absolutely reeks here. Right, let's get out of here. Well, that was fun. I'm glad I did it. It is pushing 3 p.m, which means it's very, very late lunchtime or very, very early dinner time. So I might just let it slide into dinner time. But I'm going to go for a walk and I want you guys to come along with me as well. I'm going to explore an area I've never been to. I was on Google AI, and of course you can trust that 100%, can't you? Yeah, and this is what it said. Playa de Levante, busy and vibrant, ideal for sunbathers, water sports and beach bar lovers. Okay, I get that. Playa de Pontiente, which is behind me, quieter and spacious, great for those seeking a relaxed day out. I reckon we should go for a little walk along there and just see the comparison. I'm guessing this is what happens to the seagrass meadows. This is so completely different. This is not all about drinking beer and soaking up vitamin D. There's a bit of work to be done as well, and in fact this afternoon I've allocated a few hours to work on the laptop. So this part of Benidorm will be explored later one day. I think it deserves its own video, but in the meantime I'm going to head back to the hotel and get the laptop open. There had to be an alley hop shop somewhere around here, because after all I'm wearing one of their hats and they're everywhere. And there she is. I just spotted a guy back there tucking into a huge plate of calamari, and I thought, oh, now there's an idea for tonight's dinner, huh? Calamari while in Spain. Who would have thought that? And we're back at the Clopy. Right, I've got a couple of hours of work to do, and I'll see you tonight. We'll have dinner, maybe calamari. Okay, it's approaching 6:30. I think it's time to go out and get a bite to eat. For two reasons. One, because I haven't had lunch, so I'm starting to get hungry. And two, based on my experience last night. Remember that restaurant I went to with the schnitzel? When I arrived at 7 p.m, there was only one other table occupied. By the time I left around 7:30, the place was packed. So I want to be ahead of the game, and I know exactly where I'd like to go. We can go for a little snoop around. The first time I came to Benidorm was a day trip from Alicante, and I remember walking along this. It was like an arcade or a very narrow alleyway, and it was full of wee places to eat. When I stayed here 2 months ago, I completely forgot about it, but I haven't forgotten about it this time. So far this place looks as if it's absolutely jumping. Right, let's go and have a look. Well, that worked out better than I expected. Yeah, they do calamari here, but they also do paella for one. Boom. Decision made. Tonight we've got the mighty St Mirren playing Hearts, who have no chance. But will I be able to see the game here in Benidorm? Probably not, because there's 5 games being played. Celtic versus Falkirk, that'll be played in all the Irish pubs. And we've got Hibernian versus Rangers, that'll be played in the rest. But there's also a whole lot of League Cup matches being played in England as well. Arsenal at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle's playing as well. So what are the chances of getting St Mirren versus Hearts? Pretty slim. is Tapas Alley. I hadn't realised that was it, but it is. And it's the sort of place that if you can't find something to eat in there, you're not trying hard enough. Right, let's go for a little wander, see if we can find St Mirren versus Hearts being played somewhere in a pub. Yeah, so the plan was to have something to eat, see if there was, against all odds, anywhere that was showing the St Mirren match. Rangers and Celtic are also playing tonight, so it's unlikely, and then head back and do a couple of hours of editing and stuff. That's not going to happen now because I'm in the spirit, I'm in the mood, and I can always catch up and do that later on. Right, there's also a Whitney Houston tribute act somewhere in town. I'm going to try and find that as well. Doing a bit of renovation there. That's a good little restaurant for Italian food. Yeah, so if I don't find a St Mirren match, and I have to make a decision shortly, Whitney Houston was a good plan B, but Whitney Houston is like a couple of miles out of town, away at the far end of the beach there. Cher, however, is a little closer. So I might go and investigate her if I can't stumble across a St Mirren versus Hearts live game. Even Cher's a good old distance away. She's down at the far end of the beach here. Well, we've got 20 minutes, we'll be able to make the show, and then we really must get serious about St Mirren versus Hearts. Someone must be showing it somewhere. Right, I have to come down here and do a left turn somewhere. Now, if Scotsman Kevin was here, he'd know exactly where to go. Some of these places look really, really nice, but a little bit too upmarket for me, especially being Scotty nomads, you know. Oh, and up there we've got this strip. Okay, I know where we are now. This part of town is really, really quiet. I do know the mad part of town is just one block away up there. But yeah, 8:15. Everyone must be in restaurants eating and not promenading along. Alright, where's this turn off? Okay, this seems to be it. A cabaret. Ah, okay. We'll see if we can get in. Well, that was pretty good, but I now have to find St Mirren versus Hearts. Wish me luck. Kevin from the Scotsman Kevin channel suggested the Tartan Bar might be the best bet in Benidorm for the big match tonight, St Mirren versus Hearts. You can tell by the name of some of the bars that there's no way they're going to be showing this game. You can just tell, you know, you can tell they're pro Rangers or pro Celtic, but Tartan Bar is down here, I believe, and to the right. And here we are, the Tartan Bar. Let's hope they're not featuring a team that's in blue or green. Half time. They were featuring 3 games. According to their chalkboard outside, they had 3 TV screens. But 2 of the TV screens were featuring one game, Hibernian versus Rangers, because I think it's slightly a Rangers pub, based on the shirts being worn by the guys behind the counter. Guess what game was sacrificed? Yep, St Mirren versus Hearts. So, with a bus and a flight tomorrow, and it being now 10:15, what a lightweight, I'm going to start heading back to the hotel. I was thinking of walking along the strip back to the old town, but I thought it's too much of a bombardment on the senses, you know. Yeah, let's just get back to this hotel. Not surprisingly, with Scottish football in a Scottish pub, a lot of the clientele was Scottish. And I was sitting next to this woman who was very much English, and her husband was English, but they decided to come in for a drink. And she was asking me, and how long are you here in Benidorm? And I said 2 nights. And she looked at me as if I was crazy. 2 nights? I didn't want to get into any kind of detail about it, you know. But yeah, when you do YouTube for a living, yeah, you got to watch what you say to people, otherwise they start thinking you're crazy. And come to think of it, they might be right. Just checking out the big screens as I'm passing these bars. It's always either Liverpool versus Crystal Palace or Newcastle versus Tottenham. They just don't get it, do they? They just don't get it. (2-1) against Hearts. I mean, Hearts are are leading the competition at the moment, but is anyone showing the match? No. They're obviously missing out on a fantastic game. And here we are back at the Clopy. I'll see you in the morning. So where am I going to go for breakfast? Well, the last time I was here, I went to a little restaurant. It was run by a young boy who was made of wood and had a big nose. It's along here somewhere. I found one place back there actually that looks quite nice, so I had a look at the menu and it seemed to take enough boxes. The problem was that the music was absolutely blasting, and as a result I would probably fall foul of YouTube music copyright, so I can't eat in there. Yeah, so if you're looking for that ideal stocking filler this Christmas, if you're looking for ideas, looking for things you didn't realise you needed, please visit our merch store. It's got loads of stuff, and like I said, with that big guy with the red suit coming in the next month or so, it's an ideal way of getting those gifts for that special person or even yourself. Service in that place is never fast, but the food is brilliant. I think it's maybe a Spanish thing. Let's just not hurry, because why should you? You're in Benidorm, you're on holidays after all. But I'm not. I was also watching one of these ball in cup games where they've got the 3 cups and you're supposed to guess which one it is. Funny how the people there who get really excited are always betting €50 notes. Funny how it's always 50s. Never 20s or 10s, always 50s. Oh, there's another one here as well. Wow, they're out in force. While I was having breakfast back at Pinocchio's there, I was thinking, is it Benidorm I'm really liking, or is it the fact that it's on the Mediterranean coast? I do have a love affair with the Mediterranean coast. You could plonk me anywhere along the Spanish coast, in the Algarve, somewhere in Italy for example, even the French Riviera. Of course I'd be very happy there. Is it Benidorm I like, or is it just the fact that it's a great place and the scenery is fantastic? I'm still trying to work that one out. So what did you think of Benidorm Island? Have you ever been there? It's a great little day excursion, but it is a little bit on the pricey side. €23, that goes towards a lot of drinks in Benidorm. And if you've got a family of 4, oh, it's expensive. But it's a great way of escaping the concrete jungle just for half a day. Anyway guys, thanks for coming along, and I'll see you next time.